not so clever enough. That was I said to myself. So I went back and said to my daddy that I found a school. I said, okay, and how many years duration? I said 3 years duration. And that time it was 3 years duration. You know, if you want to make to be an electrician, you know, to run the wires, to repair gadgets or something. Yeah, like so okay. So he asked me how many years. I told him 3 years. So I started going to. Anytime you go to school, there were, you know, some of boys. I would say they came from well-to-do house, so they only buy newspapers. If they buy newspaper, the first page we read or with the open sports page. And one day when they open, and then when they open the page, they saw a guy, you know, the portrait, the picture, and there they said he was going to defend his title. They said they called me loudly, come and say this boy resembles you. And I said, when I saw this, and I said, oh, if this small boy is going to be a this, and then me also I can be a boxer, or I can beat him if I need. So that's where I took it from. So when I went home, by that I was starting in school. But so when I went home, I made my plan. I went and gathered some poles, you know, to erect. You know, I said this is there hang. I went and found some the army's kit bags, you know, I hung the, that is, I used that once on his back. Somewhere around when I was sitting somewhere on the line, the proprietor of the bags as well, the name was I think DeCraft Akins or so. He had a brother who was also managing Zoom, is it? Zoom technical, one of the normal technical school, a normal secondary school. Unfortunately, the man died, so the brother has to combine all the two to make it technical, secondary technical. So the duration becomes 5 years instead of 10. So I went and talked to my dad that this is how the situation. He said, oh, look, he said, you told me 3 years, but my father was not educated, you know. We were by then about 8 children. I have about 7 children. So it's okay. Either you complete by that time was second year. Either you complete, you complete the 3 years, or I said to myself, what do I have to do? So said no, then I stopped. I continued my lesson. There, he said, look, you have stopped because of this boxing. You have stopped your schooling. Yeah. You know, like I become a dropout, like this thing. So there was this conflict between us, and I have to leave the house and stay with a friend.
So that was when you started training.
Exactly. But by that time, meanwhile, like I said, I erected this thing, but the poles, I fixed everything, and I started from that way, but not seriously, no. So I went and stayed with my friend, and when there was this guy who surprised people with newspapers. I can't remember. I don't know how come. You know, he came to our line. No. He also okay. This boy comes to our house. No. Anytime he went and surprised us. Then I can't remember exactly, but through some conversation, no. He said, oh, he goes around and surprise even to Joe Tete's camp. And when I said Joe Tete is one of the boxers, great boxers, you know, do this. So I told him to, when he goes, we told Ted JK that one of his supporters would like to come and, you know, learn the trade. He said, yo. So when he went in, I think he went and told you guys, the said, Joe Tete said I should, you know, always be welcome. Came into it. So I went there. No. I introduced myself to him. I said, yeah. So you said you gave the message to the newspaper. I said, yes. He said, okay. So he asked me, how far have I reached with the boxing? I said, oh, I'm a novice, just a starter. I just want to begin. So you know, they started me with the basic. You know, they drew a line. They drew a line No, so it's done like this. That was the basic. You be on this thing for 1 week. If they see your progress, then they change it. Then that was the first basic. I was standing like they do the last 2 days for 1 year. I stood that for 1 year. Then the second, they let me, taught me how to punch. Give a punch like this, punch like punch. Then the third week, they said I should shadow boxing. I should put in as if I'm boxing somebody. When I started, then the trainer name was J.K. Mason. He said, okay, so but you told us that you haven't. I said yes. He said, but you said you haven't learned it from anywhere. I said, yeah, this is my first time. I said, you are telling lies. So that's how I started, becoming this thing. So don't understand being. Even by that time, we have about 6 or some boxers there, and I mentioned about Jotete, but then he was champion. He was ready. He was about to leave the country for Morris. So I was not. By then I was not fighting as a feather. My weight was not featherweight. I was bantamweight. But because he's leaving, and in the bantamweight there was a bantamweight champion in our gym, so I have to move to featherweight. That's why I started boxing as a featherweight.
Let's start with your professional boxing.
I didn't fight as an amateur. I didn't fight as an amateur. Straight to pro. Oh, okay. Yeah, straight to pro. And I remember where my first fight was, I think in 1966 or so. I fought one famous Lati. That's how I started the pro. I didn't box as an amateur. I didn't fight at all. No.
So let's go to the fight that won you the world title. How was it like? How was the feeling to be the first Ghanaian to win the world title, and how the country reacted at that time?
Okay, you call the whole thing short, but okay. When I started boxing, like I said, my maiden fight was in 1966. I won some. Then I fought a couple of fights and reached the stage. There was no opponent, and there was a trainer who once managed one of our local boxers. The name was Fred Kuter Robertson. He had the opportunity, or they had it to fight world champion here. He was the first Ghanaian to fight world champion here in Ghana. Okay. But the second Ghanaian who fought world title, you understand? This is the first Ghanaian fought world title here. Yeah. That was in 64. So so his manager, who happened to be a Scotch guy, after Kuter Robert retired, he went to Australia doing business there. So he wrote to one of our national coach. The name was Rankra, that he needed some good boxers as the first one. Then he meant Kuter Robertson. So Rankra recommended me to him. So we corresponded for some few weeks and said, okay, he was prepared to manage me and I should come down to Australia. He bought everything. So we sent a ticket. So I went to Australia. I had about 6 fights. I lost one, which people tend the home division. After that, no contest. No fight was not coming anymore. But there was this one guy who was holding the Commonwealth title. The name was Toure George, T-O-R-O, Toure George. He lived in New Zealand. And I told my manager that, look, let's capture the Commonwealth. That will enable us to, that will pave way for us to fight for the world. Because initially, honestly, but then I was not, I was green. I didn't know. I thought boxing was like a school, where you go to JSS, then you go to before. They said, no, DK, you have been mistaken. So he asked me whether Americans are in the Commonwealth. And I said, okay, let's go. So we couldn't fight. And before that, when I said we should fight for this thing, we tried. we try to, get chance to fight, but always the champion always refused, He didn't want to fight. He said, okay, it came to a stage when I said, they should tell me that, I'm going to fight for free. If like, I'll give my price for me. I just wanted the 30. So no, so we have to pack our baggage and go to US.
Probably at that time they've seen how you.
Yeah. Nobody was prepared to fight me again. So we went to pack our baggage and went to USA. There also we stayed for some time. Before we reached there, the news was there. So so you are students, you come from yes. There they always protect, they protect their boxers, They avoid whom they think or whom they thought it could. So I couldn't get a chance. I was there for some about almost 8 months or so. I get London to contact one Jack Solomon. He was a promoter, Asian promoter. He promoted the first world title in Ghana. And going to talk to him and see what we could do. So when he went, he called me and said, okay, Jack Solomon said, if we could raise money like we did at the first, like 64, was prepared to do. But that time, even before we came down, I told my manager, no, Ghana economy was in red because it was a military regime. Because they say the constitutional government have the president and this have Ms. Bezel, so that's why they took over. And right now, the economy was pressed. So I don't think he said, so if you go to somebody's country, he said he doesn't want you. What do we do? You stay there? He said, okay, I'm going. He's a Scotch. He said, so I'm going. So when he said, okay, I have no authority to come down. So we met at London. We came down to Ghana. Now I'm going to go down, but the boxing. By then the boxing went down completely. No, it was no activities by then. But where do we start from? The government is not like a one-man affair. It's a big decision. Where do I start from? Fortunately or unfortunately, we are thinking about it. I have a brother who works at foreign ministry. So we sat down and have a talk what we can do, what we could do, and said, okay. But then one, like I said, it was military regime, but one General Kote, who we came from the same clan, but not closer the thing. He said, okay, we should. But then he was GFA chairman. And so we thought if you approach him, it could be a good help for us. But somebody told us that no, it doesn't do, it doesn't help his own people. So somebody referred us to his sister. When we went and talked to his sister, said, "Oh, yeah, it's true. The person who told you that is true. Your brother doesn't help his own people, but she, the sister, says she has a friend who is a friend to like a minister or commissioner for sports, and the name was Kenneth Kegbe. So the friend went and talked to Kenneth. This was so he invited us, me and my brother. We went there together. So we put our case across. He said, okay. So it's like if you think about it, and later when we went back later, I said, okay, he was going to invite some people. I remember I gave him some of the people who promoted.
sorry, had to cut the interview. We will continue next week. If you just tune in, this is the most interactive and in-depth sports analysis show live on Pan-African TV. Now, as I said earlier, today our discussion is centered on the COVID-19, the disease that has visited the whole world, causing a whole lot of panic. But I believe we are taking all the measures seriously, the precaution measures seriously, so that we'll be protected. Now, it has had so many negative impact on our footballing activities, all sports in all countries. So many leagues have been suspended, the Olympics postponed to 2021, and so many things because of this virus. Now, Michael, let me start with you. COVID-19 and its effects on our sporting activities.
Yes, a very good evening to actually. I think that I should begin on the note that we personally have also adhered to the social distancing core, and I can, if our viewers could see, the distance between ourselves is I'm sure it should be more than even the 2 meters that they've advised us to. So they should see this as an example for them to also emulate the same thing and going forward. And coming back to the question or the topic of the day, COVID-19 and the impact on our game. I think that we never saw this coming. Nobody saw this coming, and see COVID-19 probably going to halt our game. Countries were playing, Germany were playing, but because if you study the history of the German football, it has not had a time that the German football has been halted up to this time, and these are unprecedented times, except for those days when the World War, what have you, came into existence. So in the world of football, I think that we are all surprised, but I think that it's for purpose of education. As it stands now, I only know about 4 nations or 5 who are still playing active football. Almost all this, I will not say significant, but the top-notch, leagues have all come to a halt. Now, what we're seeing is, or what the leagues that I'm following is that of the Nicaraguan league, that of the Palestinian league, that of the Bati, that is the Belarus league, that is the Burundian league. Burundi, for the fact that they are telling us that they recorded few cases, and their government has not told them, or there has not come out an official communique to tell them to halt the league. So they are just carrying on with the league. Belarus are listening to their FA communications officer today, and in an interview she also stated that the conditions has not precipitated them to cause a halting of their league. And so the likes of Bati Borisov, the likes of Dynamo Minsk, the like of Minsk are all playing, and today matches are going to be played today. Tomorrow, God willing, Bati Borisov is also playing, and clearly you understand that certain countries are adamant about what is happening, but when you look at the whole on a larger scale, you realize that almost all the sporting disciplines have come to a halt. All the top-notch leagues have come to a halt, and you would mention of the EPL, the Bundesliga, the Serie A. Now conversations that's when it will even bounce back. Now we have been given up to June 30th to finish all the leagues, and I'm even asking myself that we are entering April. So do you think that we would have had an antidote or the panacea to this, this virus, that we'll be able to get ourselves back, and everything will be, will be brought back to normalcy? And I think that one league that's we also have to understand, for the purpose of education, that one competition that has really suffered, apart from the fact that the leagues, what are football leagues, but I want to look at the Olympic Games.
The Olympic Games, yeah.
The Olympic Games really has suffered as a result, because this is the what you say, the colonial
and from what I understand, even if COVID-19 should end like next month, the Olympic Games will not go on this year. It has been moved to next year.
Yes, because
summer.
I think for the summer, Thomas Bach and the president of the IOC, and also that of that of person that who is the president of the Paralympic team, clearly has stated that it will not necessarily be in summer. Maybe for the first time we can see the Olympic game being played during the spring or during the winter season, because let's not forget that 2021 will be really packed. We're going to have lots of competitions. The African Cup of Nations will be staged, the Euros will be staged, the Copa America will be staged. So you should understand that 2021 would really be, a very, very packed year, and it's really hard to take they have to take a bold decision to even halt the Olympic Games, simply because they look at the cost involved. Japan has really invested into this. They've built an Olympic village, and most of the things that they use for these competitions are on contract base. For instance, the equipment they use, they rent them for a certain time, so they have to go and give them back. The hotels and what have you, they have to invest about $9.8 billion to to get this Olympic Games, staged in Tokyo. And let's not forget, it's the second time they are hosting. They want to stage something unprecedented. We told that domestic tourism would have earned them about 1.8 billion. So when they look at what was happening, Shinzo Abe and the rest of the Olympics team were quite adamant and quite, we will say in Chisoma, as they would have allowed the competition to, be suspended. And reason as to why
it's not easy to. I mean, going back to reorganize this whole Olympic thing is going to be.
Yes, but we are in time that you clearly tell us that the health of people is much more. This is a virus that is no respecter of person. I think that my friend will tell you that even as we were coming to the studios or earlier today, the Prime Minister of UK has been infected with the virus. I'm talking about Boris Johnson. Let's not forget the heir apparent to the throne of the England, the president of Prince Charles. When the Queen is not there, the person will take over. At the 71, he has also gotten infected with the virus.
Some of our coaches, players, Ghana Sodre, Chelsea.
Yes, Kaluma Sinodoi, the likes of Blaise Matuidi, you mentioned of even the coach.
Arsenal's manager,
Mikel Arteta. So you talk about even the guy that lost his life, the Francisco, the 21-year-old Spanish one of the division coaches that lost his life as a result of this. So we have understood that. And when you watch pictures from the international scenes, you will see that it's really, really of a big deal. So I was surprised that we are hearing of Donald Trump, making a statement that the country will be open up in Easter for, activities to take place. I don't know what maybe he has seen and what the science people are up
to. They have 100%, results in dealing with it, and probably maybe by Easter
they have closed 80,000.
No, but what can I say? If you're saying by Easter they are back to their activities, I mean, come on.
I think the issues to do with the COVID-19 virus is not only on the president, he doesn't make the decisions by himself. I think it's actually very consultative. He has to probably engage the views of health experts. So most of the times when they come out to talk, it's probably on the thoughts of probably an health experts, because you can't make a decision based on what you think is appropriate at that time. I mean, talking about its impact on the sporting fraternity, I think it's very obvious for everyone to see. I mean, normally during weekends, we like to visit cinemas and watch our favorite clubs play, but this time around we are not at liberty to go and watch them because of the fact that it's been halted. And I mean, recently I was listening to an interview. There's a bit of back and forth at Barcelona Football Club in regards to players accepting to take a pay cut. I mean, probably 70% pay cut. It's some of the law they are trying to trigger so that they can cut the pay of the salaries of their players. And this is something that the players have not really heeded to, because I mean they don't seem to be prepared for it, and that's the consequences it's actually having on clubs, because I mean the much of their revenue is coming from stadium attendance and everything. This time, because of the fact that they are not playing football, people do not get to attend to the stadium so that they can make money out of it, and they still have to pay their players, they still have to pay staff that are working with the football clubs. So right now it's kind of something that is hurting them economically, so they have to do something to be able to help the staff to manage the Barcelona Football Club. So it was an idea that was touted by the administration of Barcelona Football Club, and the players don't seem to have really bought into it. So those are some of the consequences of the coronavirus. In the case of Bayern Munich, for instance, the players have agreed to probably take a 20% pay cut just to help some of the staff that work with Bayern Munich Football Club in job. Because if they don't do that, then it means that they stand a likelihood of losing their jobs as a result of the consequences of the coronavirus. So it has had massive impact on football clubs economically. Just recently, I was listening to the coach of Wafa, for instance, who has said that Ghana, for instance, had the league truncated because of the analysis. Now, because of the COVID-19 virus, our league has been truncated again or suspended for reasons attributed to the COVID-19 virus. And he was talking about the fact that, I mean, it has really hurt them in terms of where they were hoping to take the club to, and the fact that maybe for footballing reasons they were on a very good path in terms of the results they were getting and everything. So they were hoping to build on that so that they can carry the momentum into their next game. But unfortunately, the league has been halted. That tells very clearly that in terms of economics, it has really affected football. In terms of, I mean, even with the sort of inputs we expect from players have not had the liberty to train as a result of this COVID-19. Clubs have not had the liberty to, I mean,
No, they are
keep track of their
doing
players.
they are doing indoor trainings. Yesterday, Bayern Munich was doing a Zoom
Okay,
training.
that's-
You can
Yeah.
engage in your own personal training. Some of them have been given tailored programs. Manchester United, for instance, have given their players tailored programs at home so that they can follow those I mean training regimes at home and train by themselves. But then sometimes
I saw Messi's video and it's quite interesting.
Is it a toiletry one you're talking about?
no, not that one. I mean, they have tailored programs with tailored training regimes that they have to follow. I mean, I think people have engaged them to train at home when they get home. But then the worry for clubs is the fact that they cannot build chemistry between their teams, because I mean football thrives on chemistry. It's a team sport, so you need to understand the movement of the players and everything. But because of this, there's been a suspension in training. So how do you even read the movement of your players? How do you build understanding between you and your players?
I mean, look at the state of Liverpool. People are saying they should cancel the whole league.
Oh, no,
And
I
that's
mean, it's actually something that's probably inevitable, because I mean the virus is contingent on how we are able to contain it.
Yeah.
And right now it looks like it has not even peaked yet. The virus hasn't really peaked yet. I mean every time we hear of new cases, we've not really been able to contain it. And they've pegged the league at April. Initially it was April 3rd. Now they've been forced to postpone it or reschedule it to April 30 as a result of the fact that they don't foresee themselves being able to contain the virus before the April 30th. I mean, they have up to September, because they have to start a new season again. So it's something that could probably happen if we are not able to contain the disease. Jurgen Klopp was actually on record saying that, I mean, the only thing left for us is actually to discipline ourselves. We have had arguments about a lockdown and everything, but what people don't really appreciate is the fact that we need to adhere to the directives of the authorities. We need to adhere to the recommendations of the World Health Organization, because if we don't adhere to it, we'll be compelled to take measures that will be very detrimental to the masses. People have talked about the fact that when we actually do a lockdown, the sort of consequences it will have on the masses, because most Ghanaians do not have access to public toilets. We saw all those statistics. But I mean, people are also looking at the consequences of the spread of the disease, because clearly the disease has shown that it is very pervasive. It actually thrives on public gatherings and everything. And the only way we can deal with the disease is to stop the movement of people. It's that simple. So if we continue to show that we cannot contain the disease, then the inevitable thing to do is to probably do a lockdown, because I mean that's the only way we can restrict people's movement. When we do the lockdown, we can look at its consequences and everything. It would hurt people in terms of how you restrict the movement. Because I actually experienced what a lockdown would look like on Monday. On Monday, remember, government was on a disinfection exercise around the markets and everything, and everyone was compelled to stay at home. When you walk out of the streets, it looks like a ghost town because no one was around on the streets. It was very difficult to get food to buy because those food vendors had not walked on the streets to sell their food and everything. So it tells you that very clearly that we don't seem to be a country that we are prepared for it. But then it's something that we might actually compel our government to do. It's not as if because they are insensitive to our
No, we won't. I have a different opinion when it comes to lockdown, because I personally have always been opinion on when the basic social amenities are not provided for, you will not really want to start looking at a lockdown, in the sense that, as you alluded to the fact that, look at even toilet facilities. Where I stay, for instance, the Yabufo community, almost about 80% of the populace don't have access to private toilet facilities. So ask yourself that you are going to see people. You can't prevent people from going to attend to nature's call. So that is one factor. Accra, how many people have access to tap waters or pipe waters, portable drinking waters nationwide? Now you look at the fact that when you look at the spread of the virus, now let's look at the cases that we are recording. Now about 78 of the cases, the last time I checked, was as a result of the 1,030 people that we quarantined, but the mandatory quarantine. Those are the people that we are getting the figures from.
So which is actually a proper case study for. It's actually a proper, the fact that we've been able to quarantine people and we've been able to test them and they've actually tested positive. Imagine if we had allowed them to move where they were quarantined. So
already entered the country
clearly the best way, he's talking about the fact that we've had some people quarantined and we've had success in the sense that we've actually been able to test them.
We don't know those who are outside and already
that is what are the statistics that are being churned out as a result of the community spread. Now, we
have to ask ourselves about the success in terms of the contract.
They are doing the surveillance. They are trying to do the tracking. So they track. Let's say when I get infected, they'll ask how many people so far have I come into contact? So those people are going to be under the tracking system. So when they track them, then they'll compel them or they tell them to be in self-isolation. So I said after the 14 days, because I know of a journalist who was even quarantined for those number of days, and after that he came out and nothing proved to be positive. So now the numbers that we are getting is significantly from the people that were quarantined when we had a lockdown. Now the numbers that are coming from the CDC is not so worrying to the extent that it is it is hunger can kill you more than the virus. Before the virus gets in touch with you, hunger can even kill you before. Yesterday I shared a picture of what the UK is doing for its citizens as a result of the lockdown. South Africa has recorded 700 cases, so that is a understanding that.
So we should wait till we record higher numbers.
The people won't comply because I can't be in my room and be hungry and tell me to lock down.
You see, the world was actually guilty of sleeping on this virus thing. I remember when it emerged from China, a lot of people were talking about the coronavirus.
We took it for granted.
We didn't seem to take it very seriously.
No, in fact, up to now, when you meet some drivers, this morning I met someone right after I came out from my gate. We just went in, and then I was applying hand sanitizer because I was coming out.
It looks like you are joking for him.
And I was like, and I'm that damn sir. I was like, seriously? Such a person will get the virus.
No, would have
infect a lot of people.
Those things, you see, these are issues with people's attitude, and we don't. Those attitudes is not only limited to Ghana. We have people abroad.
New York is going to the same.
And those negligence will lead to a lot of people getting the virus.
That is what will compel maybe authorities to enforce certain measures that would be detrimental to us.
I mean, you enter a car, you ask the driver, he gives you money, you apply sanitizer on your hand before you give him the money or take your time. You're like, hey, what's so dear? What should I do, Papa?
But you know, Mike was.
It's like they don't care. Most of our commercial drivers, they don't care.
That's because
that is why the director of the World Health Organization, Gabriel Jesus, has stated that Africa should be ready for the worst because this is a country, this is a continent that we are so negligent about. How many of us even have health insurance, and how to updated health insurance package and
many of us will be sick. We don't even know.
We don't care.
And then you get this virus, and then you've deteriorated.
Let me just make this one before it comes in. When I just entered the office, for instance, and I fought myself, I saw a lady who is in there, and normally when I see her, she would normally hug me and what have you. And when the moment I hugged her, I realized she started coughing, and I realized, so if should it be that she is infected, I have had some desperate dedication that I'm prone to. So I think the education should be more. We should send a message out. But I think that even if we should carry out the lockdown, do you know that even as it stands now, we are more or less in a partial lockdown. Now I go on the street, for instance, the N1, for instance, early in the morning, Monday morning, try crossing the N1. It is so difficult for you to do too. But now you can decide to cross the N1, and you might probably stay on the road and take a picture. Ghanaians are people that we normally are people we actually, if I should put it in a local parlance, whenever any statement is made, you realize how the nation was turned into in a mute state when it was reaction.
That was actually a reaction.
And in our game, and back to our game, you understand that the teams. And so I want to make this call again, and before it comes in, that our teams, people follow our teams, and I have so far not been hearing much from them. Kudos to Togbe Afede, they are 14th, and I'm told of about 100,000 is it Ghana cedis or dollars that he's made to support his people with sanitizers and what have you. We want to hear of the same thing. Our coaches are involved in toilet roll competition. The coach of the gaffer of the Black Stars is playing Tiro. While the likes of Pep Guardiola, while the likes of Mourinho and the likes are all contributing $1 million, the likes of
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about players who have donated. I mean, not from our Ghanaian players, but the foreign ones. But before then, if you just tune in, this is Sports Time Live on Pan African TV. Do follow us on our social media platforms. On Facebook is Sports Time, on Pan African TV, Instagram and Twitter is Sports Time GH. Now, Accra House of Folk, they've signed a new midfielder, Niger International, Mamani Lawali, and their club managing director, Frederick Moore, is saying that he knows nothing about it. Before we talk about the players who have donated in support of this virus, let's look at this.
Aspiring PRO of how to focus here.
Yes.
I'm actually.
Your managing director says he doesn't know anything about it.
Moore is actually saying this. I don't know how.
But do you think if he knows?
I don't know how authentic this information is.
But before then, the phone lines are open, so you can also call in and then make your submission. Tell us what do you think, how this whole virus is affecting you. You are not getting football or any game to watch. So call us and tell us.
Well, I was saying that I don't know how authentic that information is. I was expecting a more responsible comment from him, because I mean it's a player that Odum himself has admitted that he wanted to strengthen the midfield of Accra Sofo, because I mean they mostly relied on the likes of Benjamin Futu, Nete and his likes. And I mean for a team like Accra Sofo, you need to create competition among players, because I mean football thrives on competition. You need to give a lot of players competition. You can't only rely on the presence of your usual 11. So I mean the fact that we've signed a player doesn't necessarily mean that he should be good enough to start in the first 11.
But do you think it's a good signing?
No, I mean I don't have any problem. I don't think it's an area that's a priority for Accra Sofo. But having said that, I believe that for every team you need to create competition, and maybe you would give competition to the likes of Nete. You don't have to only rely on the players that you have available. Sometimes there could be accumulation of cards, there could be injuries that would enforce certain substitution. You need to trust the players that are coming in. I mean, I believe that in life you need to give everyone an opportunity to express himself. It is only when you've given that person an opportunity to express himself, then you can say that he's probably not good enough to play for Accra Sofo or otherwise. Most of these players have not. Most of these fans that are expressing reservations about the fact that has assigned him have not even caught sight of the player before. They don't know how good a player he is, but yet they claim that he doesn't deserve to play for Accra Sofo. I mean, it was the same thing. We never knew of Victorian Adebayo, but he's turned out to be a gem for Inter Allies. Not only Inter Allies, but the Ghanaian Premier League as well. Remember when Igalo was joining Manchester United, for instance?
Yeah, all
from Shanghai. Everyone was like, I mean, it was a bad move for Manchester United. I mean, it depends on the attitude of the player. He took it into his
But do you think
strides.
House of Folk need a midfielder?
No, of course, that's what I'm saying.
I think they need probably a striker. I mean, the strikers are not living up to expectations.
You see, Accra Sofo have already have the services of, I think, Koji and Esu,
come on,
and they have a
how many times?
They have a
Koji will struggle before
he scored 6 goals. He
scored
scored 6 goals.
We've seen how sometimes he struggles. Sometimes, yeah. Hello, please. What's your name? Yeah, what's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Kuda. I'm calling from Kumasi.
Okay, so let's hear you. How is the feeling in Kumasi?
Kumasi is very bad. Especially today when I went out, the whole town was like cemetery. It's not easy.
Wow.
It's not easy. So we found it difficult. Let us pray that this battles will not spread more than that. And because of that, you see the football activities, everything is settled down.
Yeah.
So we are not feeling comfortable in Kumasi at all. So that is what I also want to contribute.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Please adhere to the safety measures and then let's all protect ourselves. Okay, all right.
Yeah, so I was saying, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be that Accra Sofo need a player before they sign him. It has to be about creating competition for the rest of the players. And I think that in these regards, maybe the coach trusts his technical expertise and he believes that this is a player that would show up the team. Sometimes we can sit on the fence and think that maybe the coach is not doing something right. But he knows the sort of quality that the player is bringing on board. And I'm sure this is a player that has been scouted, because if he's not been scouted, how can they sign a player from the Nigerian league? Definitely he's been watched a couple of times and they believe that he would add a lot, he would bring a lot of quality.
Yeah, hello. Please, what's your name?
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening. I can hear you.
Good. I think my suggestion is that there's a key proverb that is that you don't credit to think crime. I would suggest that the topic of the implications and the effect on the shutdown or whatever it is, whatever they have to do that for is to educate the public about precautionary measures and all of that. Yes, I've heard you saying all those things, but it's not enough. You need to go to the villages, you need to go to our community. Maybe in Accra, some of the people in Accra live like they are, they're in the village. So that education must be done. And when we talk about the effects of the lockdown, just remember that when it's ready for a whole week, what we do? If we don't lock down, like the Americans did, like the Italians did, like Germans did, that the UK has seen that the implications and whatever. That's what the Trump is saying. That it's going to open the economy. The coronavirus will force you to shut down. If you don't shut down now. So we need to be very, very careful. The effect is serious, as we know.
Yeah.
So we must not waste our time to talk about the effect, the football activities and all that. We just can keep it credit. Now the price to pay for something.
Yeah.
There's a price to pay. Some will go hungry. Some will just make sure they manage themselves. You have to take just try to manage yourself. If you eat 3 times a day, eat once a day. And let's make sure that we stay manage our. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your call.
Yeah, so as Mamani, I believe that they know the quality he's bringing to Accra as a coach. So definitely that's the reason why they brought him. I believe that he can add that bit of quality to
Mike, do you have anything to say about?
Yeah, I think that is Mamani.
You know, my issue. How can the whole managing director not know the player at club?
You see, he spoke about the fact that monitoring of the player and what have you. From what I hear, this is a Nigerian international and very good of Heart of Oak. I think that they are worth the applause this time around because in a very long time we've seen a team signing a player that is, featuring for his national team. He's a player that is playing for the Nigerian national team. That tells you what a figure he is and how important he would be, to augment the squad of Heart of Oak. But let's not forget, we are going to the second round of the competition. So every signing that is made should be a strategic and a technical signing. Let's not forget, this team Heart of Oak that is going to sign the player has failed to give their head coach and assistant coach. So let's not forget, you are rivaling a certain team like Asante Kotoko, who has about 3 assistant coaches, the likes of Akaku Patron, the likes of I think there is Victor Smith and the one that Maxwell also brought in. And clearly, you should also understand that they have about 2 goalkeepers trainers. So Heart of Oak needs to also look at the technical team. It's very good they are getting the player, but we all I think the little that I've watched on about the player is that he's somebody with that kind of
Hello. I think we lost him.
Yeah, so I think that most of them have attributed. I was listening to a Kumasi Bay station today, and they were comparing him to the likes of Rokimi of Argentina and the qualities of Israel. They've started giving him, showering praise on him. But I think that for the purpose of what we hear, from what I'm gathering, is that he was recommended by a certain Victorian Adebayo to Heart of Oak. Let's not forget, Victorian Adebayo is somebody who is really linked to Heart of Oak, except for the the monetary grounds or the money involved that Heart of Oak cannot be able to cough out, because this is a player that Interalex is trying to link him to Europe for them to cash on some dollars. No, you won't be happy because it's not possible. Heart of Oak would not be able to, get that amount. Interalex would $1, and they would want to send
your
it
team
to
will get that amount.
Oh, what is that team?
You know your team.
I support Kumapim, and the team has gone into a nosedive. So we have to understand that. So he comes in. As I said, we are going to the second round of the competition. So if you are making any signing, that should be that there is a lacuna or there is a vacuum in any of the positions that you want to fill. Or as Rubens, as my brother said, you want to give competition to that's departments of the game. For defensive wise, Heart of Oak is not bad. For goalkeeping, they have lots of experience and also young age there with Richard Atta and the likes, the Bernard Mensah. Then you go to the defense too. They are having lots of guys, the Fatau and the likes, and Radio Voka. I realized the Heart of Oak squad now has about youngsters, and most of them ages are around 20s and what have you. This star who is coming in from Nigeria, we told it's about 23 years. So coming to add up to the team, I think that you would give in that kind of spice, like the Dijon one, the like of the Iniesta, like that of the Rakitic one, that they'll be able to make such impact when the game, be able to turn the complexity of the game to suit them and whatever. But I think the Heart of Oak's problem is not really on the pitch now. They need to look at their technical team and get it built up, because Coach Neil Dum has always, as we have always known of him, that he's always going to complain about, not having enough support. So Togbe is doing well. I am so happy that he joined the cause to fight against the COVID and what have you. But he should also join the cause to, get his technical team built up so that they can be able to match up to it. I've been looking at certain statistics and about teams. The top 5 in the last 5 years, top 5 teams in club teams on the African stage. First 50, we don't find any of the Ghanaian clubs in it. The top 50, there's no Ghanaian club in it. The Alalis and the Zamaleks and the USM Odgers and the Wydad Casablanca and the Team Mazim, they are the same teams, the Mamelodi Sundowns. They're the same people occupying those spots. So clearly, it's a sign to us that we really have to, coming to the second round, if God willing, should he bounce back to this league. I think that we have to look at things where Kotoko we're hearing of, in a transfer battle for Emmanuel Sarkodie from Nkranda Warriors between the Stars. They seem to be, battling for him. It's more or less like the Malcolm, Roma and Barcelona affair there. But let's see how things pan out. Nathaniel Samoa, we told, is joining Ash of Ash Gold for about 2-year deal. I think that it would be a career rejuvenation for him if he should join a local league, and also certain transfers that are going on. Legon Cities, we earlier heard that they are going to your team, my team, all of us our second team. We heard that they were about to, sign about, a dish of about 20 players and get about 20 more into it. But we were told by Kwabena Jumbo that it would have been the wholesale, But looking at the investment into the team, as I said the last time I watched their game at the Accra Sports Stadium against Olympics, I asked the coach after the post-match presser that the investment into the team and the performance on the pitch does not meet up. So why is it so? He started complaining that the quality on the pitch is not good. So they would have to really look at that, because you bring Wendy Shays and Shatawale and what have you to the stadium, and you are having it difficult to get results. Then it tells you that there is something needs to be done. So I would want to see the teams coming so much deep into the transfer conversation, get some foreign players who are playing actively with respect to their clubs, not bench warmers. You've heard of their Dingers, their Beggars and what have you. No more that you want to hear of active players. So I have to focus good deal for them, but I want to see the same with the other teams as well.
All right, quickly let's look at some of the players who have donated in support of this virus, how to kick it out from the world.
I mean,
locally, we've not seen any Ghanaian. The Ghana Premier League player.
Oh no, we've
donating.
seen. I think that before I came, I heard of before he comes in that of Bekum Chelsea players like the likes of Zakaria Fusini, Steven Amanko now. All joining, going to share how do you call it, sanitizers in Bekum and what have you. That's what I
okay. At least that's what they can afford. So they
you let him finish and let me also the ambassador.
They've done their bits, and I believe that everyone is doing its bits. And I mean, it's something that maybe our players locally should emulate from, not necessarily locally. I mean, those that have had opportunity through the country to fly their trade abroad should also emulate from this place. I mean, we've heard of Lionel Messi, for instance, who has donated €1 million to support the fight against the COVID-19 virus, and half of it is going to Argentina and half to Barcelona, a hospital in Barcelona. Spain has been ravaged by the coronavirus. I mean, I think after Italy, then Spain, before China.
I think US,
so clearly they're also
now
struggling. I mean, in terms of numbers, but in terms of the number of people that have died out of the virus, I think it's Italy, then China. It's Italy, then Spain before China. So clearly they've been ravaged by the COVID-19 virus. And a lot more efforts has been coming from a lot of celebrities. It looks more like a donate kind of challenge. I mean, we've heard of the likes of McGregor, the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo, the likes of Roger Federer. Lots of them have joined. Joshua Kimmich, for instance. If you can't do it by giving out your money, you can start a fundraiser. I believe a lot of the players have a lot of followership on their social media platforms. They can start a fundraiser. They can probably contribute a token to the fundraising and encourage those who believe in them, those who support them, to contribute towards the fundraising as well, so that they can support the fight locally. This is not only the government's burden, it should be everyone's burden. I want to believe that we all have to be very responsible for this, because this is a sickness that has shown that it has no distinction for a status or whatever. We've mentioned a lot of players that have contracted the disease, the likes of Dybala, the likes of Matuidi. These are celebrated people that have contracted the disease, so it has no respect for your status in society. So this is the time we need to bring everyone on board. This is the time that we need to mobilize our efforts towards defeating this virus. And if we are to defeat this virus, I believe that those people are very key. I mean, the celebrities are very key. And what's very interesting, or what's very intriguing, is the fact that the music industry, so it seems to be doing very well.
Yeah.
I mean, we've heard the likes of McCarthy, Medica, the likes of Chris Waddle, the likes of Shetawale. I mean, a lot of them are doing their bit. So maybe we need a lot more from our players, and most of them have had opportunity to ply their trade abroad, like I said, through the country. This is the time to give back to the country, mobilize their efforts, contribute to the fight against this COVID-19. And when we defeat this COVID-19, I believe that most of them have done the educational bit. I mean, I think we've all joined in the effort to disseminate information. I think this, beyond disseminating information, I believe that a lot more should join in, so that they can also mobilize their efforts, not in terms of dissemination of information, because I believe that now we've disseminated enough information. But they should do it monetarily.
Those information are all in English. Most of them.
But then for instance, you see, Accra Folk, for instance, I've had their coach speak in Ga. educating people about the dangers of the coronavirus. He spoke in his local dialect, and I've seen a lot of people. I've seen people speak in their own local dialects. I'm just saying, like, to the players, it shouldn't be limited to the disseminating of information.
Exactly.
I believe that there's a lot more
More
they
that
can
they
do. Maybe
can do.
they should contribute monetary wise so that we can help in
Our
the
time,
fight
our
against
time
the
is up.
COVID-19.
But Michael, 1 minute, 1 minute. Our time is up.
Yeah, so if I have a minute, I think that I would have to head straight to the camp of the Black Stars. And so these are players that have had a chance to play or done the national team GC, and this is the time that they need to come in to support. I watched Thomas Partey educating people about, awareness about the virus and what have you. I've seen the Black Stars coach, CK Akono, playing toilet roll, the likes of Duncan also doing the same. I think that the awareness is very good, but we need to now go out there. There is a popular saying that, greatness is not measured by your material possession. Instead, your material distribution. This is the time that we have to see how great you are in what you distribute. I've seen that Achu, we know what he does, the philanthropic work that he does. But this is the time that we need him to come back to the community, the Abufo community, the Achimota community, where he used to play, and showcase some love by sharing sanitizers. Sanitizers now, the price have now hiked to the extent that we are buying them at 50 cedis. How much is a bag of rice? Then I should go and buy sanitizer at 50 cedis and what have you. So they should share the love. I should, my thanks out to Togbe Afede, the 14th, for the kind gesture done to his people. I'm told about the 100,000 Ghana cedis and the sanitizers and what have you. Good work. The rest should follow suit. The club managers, the likes of Champion, the likes of Kotoko, Doctor, and the rest all should follow suit. Become Chelsea is doing something there, sharing sanitizers and what have you. We should see same on the local scenes. The players should come down. As Samuel Jan, the Jordan, I use the day I use the Adiman Bedus and the Koja Samoa, they should be able to now come and show support.
No, before we started the show, I heard Asamoah was sharing hand sanitizers to some people. I've not verified, but I'll just...
He's somebody we know him for that. So if he started it, he should continue with it. And let's not forget, Sadio Mane has donated how much? 45,000 euros, and that is about 30 million CFA francs to Senegal to combat the coronavirus. This is a player that is playing for Liverpool. Let's remember, Liverpool is the least paying club, one of the least top class players that pays their players.
Deducting all the taxes and
yes,
all
and what have you, and he's still able to do this for his nation. You see, football
so
is just about.
We
need to see more from them. They will come back to our same society to come and build factories for us to be able to buy from them, so that they should be able to do much more.
Maybe our players are doing it on the basis of anonymity.
Exactly.
They don't want people to
No. In this case, you can't work on anonymity on this.
Oh, but based on their beliefs.
On a more serious note, like I think it's only prudent that we caution the public. I mean, if we are afraid of a lockdown, I think this is the time we have to be very serious about the directives that have been given by the president. I see a lot of recreational footballers go out there to play football, this five-a-side football. It's something that we need to discourage. It's something that attracts a lot of people.
Yeah.
And like we said, the disease thrives on public gatherings and everything.
Exactly.
And if the president have given a directive that we should stop all public gathering, I think this is the time we need to adhere to it. If we don't, and the numbers keep soaring, it would force the president to enforce certain measures that will be very detrimental to the masses. So we have to be very careful and hopefully adhere to the recommendations and hopefully the directives of the president.
All right.
My last recommendation.
Our time is up.
Now, the last thing I want to say is that as we heard that when we move, the virus moves. When you stop, the virus stops. So what I'm saying is that stay indoors if you don't have anything doing. Hashtag stay home. The moment I leave here, I'm going straight to my house. We are all doing the same. Lock myself up until next week when you have the show again.
All right. Thank you guys for joining me today. That's all time will allow us. And please stay safe. Adhere to the safety precautions. Stay home as much as you can. Let's all, take this virus out. I'll see you again same time next week. Bye.
truly African.
This week on Big Story, a health crisis during China's busiest traveling season. Millions visiting their families for the Lunar New Year.
自今天10时起，全市城市公交、地铁、轮渡、长途客运暂停运营。
In the middle of an outbreak of a deadly virus.
我老婆她现在比较严重，比我严重多了。昨天就把她的片子留下来了，说是要经过诊断才能够收治，但她的病情在恶化，3个都感染，知道吧？
A city under siege mobilizes to save those at the heart of the emergency.
我说潘多拉的盒子已经打开了，然后灾难、恐惧、疾病这些都跳出来了。
Hospitals overwhelmed with patients.
其实也害怕呀，因为你看我们家有爸爸妈妈。